to start around 7 o'clock. So we debated what we're going to do. So we thought that meditating would be the best thing to do. Okay, all of you, let's take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. We're just going to get ourselves ready for Geshe Michael when he arrives. We'll do the preliminaries first, and then when he gets here, then he can come right in and lead us in the next meditation. So make all the last final movements. Could they hear that online? Settle into complete quietness. And for the next 20 minutes, commit yourself to not moving. I can still hear you moving. Stop. Your body is like a mountain, unmovable. We're going to start by counting 100 breaths. Exhale. Inhale. 1. Exhale. Inhale. 2. Continue counting on your own. someone special to sit in front of you, knee to knee. See them arrive to you in the form of medicine Buddha. See them alive, completely real. Like you're having coffee with them. And think about the good qualities that they have, the qualities that you would like to embody yourself. Extraordinary they are, and honor them just by thinking about them. Then deep inside of yourself, the desire arises to give them something, to make an offering. And give them the offering of your practice over the last week here at Diamond Mountain. Show them all the good seeds that you planted in your practice. And because we're not perfect yet, we still make some mistakes. Think of something you did in the last day. Maybe it was a simple thought, something you're not so proud about. And let them know. Just a simple act of letting someone know things that you're not proud about, things that you've done, can help clear them. And let them know a goodness that you saw in somebody else. The people around you are always doing kind things. Let your teacher, let the medicine Buddha know that you're seeing those things and rejoicing together in them. And then ask for teachings. Ask them to teach you in all the ways that you need. Sometimes it might be uncomfortable, but let them know that you're ready for it. And ask them to stay. But will we stay close to you? And you see them extraordinarily happy with your question, with your request. And their answer is yes. And by saying yes, they begin to shrink down, come to the top of your head. So their first act of staying is you're inviting them into your heart. And then they begin to mount in the blue light and move from the top of your head into that special place in your heart. And you see all their good qualities spread out from your heart through your entire body and mind. And take 3 long exhales, offering the goodness of your preliminary practice. And then staying quiet. You can stay quiet in meditation, or if you need to move around a little bit. And Geshe Michael will come in and continue in about 10 minutes. So please do remain quiet, and then we'll get started again.
Good morning. Welcome to meditation. And before we start, I'm going to show you some pictures to remind you. We're going to do a 5 houses meditation. And here's pictures. Francisco, some of the pictures, but not all. So here's the first one. Ta-da. And that's just to remind you of what the 5 houses are. And the idea is that we had a visit to Princeton University a week ago or something, and we had some classes there. And in the university, they have different houses and different departments. So the university and is a big entity. It has, I don't know, $30 billion of endowment, and they take care. The university kind of takes care of all the paperwork and all that, and they keep the place, looking good, which is really really difficult because it's huge, and they build new buildings all the time and things like that. And then there are departments, and when you go to the university, you specialize. You get a PhD in a certain subject, and you join a department. Although you can visit other departments to expand your knowledge. So this is a place called Holder Tower, and it's close to my house. So I was in Proctor House. Proctor House is mainly for religion. So I was a religion major, and so each student makes a decision. And by the way, you get a year or two to make the decision. You don't make the decision when you get there, and you try different things for the first year or two, and then you see what fits you like a pair of pants. And I originally started in the politics department because it was the anti-war days, and then I didn't. They were too crazy, and then I went to psychology. And I'll never forget, there was a famous psychologist came to talk, and she had a cup of coffee and she was going like this. And then I was looking at her and I said, I don't want to be a psychologist. And then my backup was religion, because I was really interested in, and I wanted to be a priest. So anyway, that was my college, but I did change my major, I think 3 times. And that's okay. They encourage that because you are how old? You're 20 years old. And to make a decision what you want to do for your whole life at that stupid age is not very wise, right? How old are your kids? Your boys are older. Yeah. So they're not that stupid. But anyway, you make your decision for your house. I'm going to review the houses, and then we're going to do a closed eye meditation about the houses. Okay. Next one, Francisco. So first house is called Classics House, and I guess pretty much that's how ACI started. We started as ACI started as the Geshe course, shortened for Westerners and for foreigners, and it was a good job. I'm proud of that guy. It's a good representation of the Geshe course, and so kind of this guy. And don't forget, you can be Tim. Remind me, you can be a member, you can be a lecturer, instructor, teacher, or a master. Okay, member, instructor, teacher, and then a master. So you work up. By the way, to be a member, you don't you don't have to. I mean, it's like joining a department at Princeton. You don't know anything, and you don't have to know anything. You just have to know you want to be in that department. Okay, and then you start learning. Okay, all right. So that's one option that you have in ACI. That's the first house. It's called Classics House. And then second house is called Samadhi House. And in the original ACI in New York in the 90s, we also did meditations, and we had a whole, what do you call it, curriculum of different meditations. And they are good. If you don't know about them, you should review them. There are recordings on, what do you call that thing? Knowledge base, yeah. So basically, this is for meditators, and I wanted to mention this morning that this Samadhi house is a good example of a house which, in my vision, would serve two purposes. One is spiritual, and there would be meditation classes and meditation courses and meditation skills where, and especially as a teacher, where you are doing Buddhist meditations. But I also would like to see, and it's something we're not very strong in, I often see in the press, reports that Google has hired 2 meditation teachers. And, sometimes I look and see, I wonder what they're teaching there. And it's really weird stuff. And so I feel strange that we have such authentic meditation. We have thousands of years of good instruction on how to meditate. And then we've never been able to really create a program for secular meditation or meditation by people. There are people, I go on tours, I go on DCI tours. I remember a long time ago, I went to Europe and I was teaching a meditation class, and somebody said, look, I'm just never going to be a Buddhist, I'm not interested. But I would really like to learn to meditate for my business or for my personal life. And I think each house should have a secular branch and a spiritual branch. So I see the houses split like a pagoda of 5 floors. And then I see a vertical split where there's a spiritual samadhi house courses and teachers who specialize in that. And then there's secular or non-religious meditation courses. And I think as a group, as an organization, we've missed an opportunity. I think we could have served more people if we had that clear distinction. And there is a thing where, in corporate, in America, in New York, for example, you have to be very careful not to be religious. It's a legal requirement, and it's sort of a cultural requirement. You're not allowed to be religious in the company, and it's unfair to the people that you hire who are not Buddhist. So I think we should be able to have, each house should have specialists who can go out to a corporation and they understand corporations or other kinds of organizations. And then there should be samadhi masters who are Buddhist and who can teach you Buddhist meditation. So I see it as each department should have two departments or two sub-departments. Okay, next one, Francisco. What's this called? Yeah, this is Mountain House, and it's retreat. And what the distinction I applied, the dichotomy I just applied, it very much applies to Mountain House also. And I believe my jewelry company was successful because I did many innovation retreats. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to help corporations, businesses succeed, and also to help the mental health of the executives in the corporations, because they're under tremendous stress, and if they could learn to do retreat as a business method, then that would be really nice. And we failed in that. We haven't really done that well. We haven't really helped people this way. There is some programs we've done, but not as well as we could have. By the way, the things we did do well are really kick ass. Okay, and those are good. But I think we could do more. Okay, next picture. What's it called? Staircase house. And basically, this person has learned the 14 years of Lamrim. By the way, that's pretty much the most complete Lamrim you could ever do. There's nothing more than that. You could spread out horizontally to other Lamrims by Tsongkhapa or other teachers. There are, but basically the structure of it is the most detailed. And by the way, the best written. That book, A Gift of Liberation, thrust into the palm of your hands, is probably the best Tibetan book ever written. The person who transcribed it and the person who edited it, Chija Rinpoche, was unbelievable. Beyond anybody, okay, as a writer. And so anyway, and he was my teacher's teacher. So anyway, again, you'd have to think about applications to secular life. And I have this app, Inside Timer. I use it for the timer because I like it. I like the bell. We'll do the bell, okay, today. And you have a choice of bells. I use it for the bell. And then there's many meditations offered on the app. And it's almost too many. And a lot of them, in my opinion, are kind of silly. But I think you could have almost like a psychological treatment of people with Lamrim, which is not Buddhist, but it would take some creativity. It would take you'd have to be a good Lamrim teacher to use it for non-Buddhists, okay? But it would be useful. And you see that on that app. You see that kind of thing. It would take a lot of thought, but you could do it, I think. So that house, staircase house, could have a secular component, okay? Next one. Next one's called Diamond House. And, obviously, those of you who know about the Diamond Way courses of ACI, the courses, the Diamond Way course, by the way, I had a note from Mr. Bin in Vietnam, maybe 7-8 years ago, I remember. And he said, some people in Vietnam asked me, why is Geshe Michael does he do Diamond Way? Because it's not nice, it's not clean, it's dirty, it's strange, where did you get this from? Where does this come from? And then I wrote him back. I actually had some fun. Half of the books from ancient India, half of the Buddhist books are Diamond Way. Exactly half, So you're talking 990 texts, 450 something are 490 are Diamond Way, and the commentaries there are over 2,000, and that's before it reached the Himalayas, So, to say is it Buddhism or not is a strange question for us, because I grew up with it, and my teacher taught it to me for 30 years. So there is a Diamond Way, what do you call it, scholastic tradition and a scriptural tradition. And it's very, very deep, and it's very, very wonderful, and very clean, and very beautiful. And, but the name Tantra has trouble. There have been tantric systems in India they emphasize sexual practices and things like that. In fact, I went to India one time, Varanasi, and I was staying in I was kind of B&Bing, and the lady came one morning and she said, "You have to leave," and I'm like, "Why?" And she said, "You practice tantra," and I said, "Yeah, but it's very, very beautiful. It's like, I don't know, super psychology or something, and very nice." And she said, "No, it's very bad." And she made me leave, and this is it. So even in the country where it began, tantra has a bad name, and the word in the West, it has a bad name. So, which is strange because it's a beautiful, beautiful, clean. It's based on morality. It's based on good behavior. And so anyway, the course that ACI designed for we call it Diamond Way because we don't want to use the word tantra. The course that we designed for Diamond Way is I believe it's the best ever done in history, and it covers all of the topics of Diamond Way, and it's a tough course. This morning I saw an old survivor of Kendra. Where is she? Yeah, she's an old survivor of the original tantric course, which was 7 years. Those guys suffered for 7 years. And the homeworks are like 200 questions or so. 3 people finished the homeworks. And so anyway, it's a wonderful, wonderful course. But I think there's another secular, again, there's a division of secular practice of Diamond Way. And I use this picture because Tantra, the nickname for Tantra in Tantra is Vajrayana, which means Diamond Way. But also, I think there could be a secular Diamond Way where you take the attitudes of those teachings and not the Buddhism, and you use it. And my example to you would be 19 years in a corporate, skyscraper in Manhattan, practicing Diamond Way secretly, and no one in the company knows. No one knows you're even a Buddhist. And by the way, a lot of my staff was Asian. I hired a lot of people through Chinatown refugee project. I hired a lot of refugees from Asia, from many countries. And so I never told anybody that I was practicing, but I used it all the time. And people responded to it. And this whole attitude, Diamond Way attitude, that the world is special, something special, something beautiful. I think there could be a secular application, and I did it, and it works, and we became the largest company of our kind in the world, and I think a lot of it was because of Diamond Way attitudes spreading in the company, like COVID Diamond Way. Okay, and I think maybe the cutest kind of Diamond Way is where it spreads to you and you don't know it spread to you. That's real secret practice. You're doing Diamond Way and you don't know you're doing Diamond Way. So anyway, those are the 5 houses that I'm thinking about. I'm gonna stop there, okay? And what I'd like to do today is lead a meditation. We got about half an hour. And I'd like to lead a short meditation. And we're going to meditate about the 5 houses, okay? So get comfortable. For me, so I do this every morning, and I think the most important thing is to get comfortable so you don't have to move. Okay, especially when you're in a group. Okay, when you're in a group, it's an extra responsibility not to bother the other people. Also, when you're in a group, somebody's gonna cough right next to you. and you have to be compassionate, and you can't get angry during your meditation about the noisy person next to you. Everyone always sits next to the noisiest person. I'm telling you. I don't know how that's possible, but it does. Okay. So don't worry about it. My main thing, quick meditation posture is obviously try to get to a position where you're not going to move. And then shoulders back slightly, tummy dantian, slightly lower belly, slightly pushed in, but don't go crazy, okay? Don't go crazy, slightly. And that will help you a little bit. Don't overdo it, okay? And then you can, I've had retreats, long retreats, where I kept my eyes slightly open and looked down without lowering your chin. So chin is still straight, but the eyes are down, and that's an option. If you get sleepy, I think the extra light works like that. Okay. If you can, then close your eyes. If you want to go further, focus here. Okay. So by the way, don't go like this. Some people are like, don't hurt your eyes. Okay. You're focusing your attention here, but not your eyes. Okay. Although you can slightly raise your eyes, it helps. And then your hands just should be comfortable. And left hand down first, right hand down first. After meditating for nearly 50 years, it doesn't matter. And make sure your hands are relaxed. That's all. We're gonna count a certain number of breaths, and then I'll stop you, and we'll go on to the next part. Okay. Out breath first, in breath second. And please think of someone that you really admire, and think about the good qualities they have, especially someone who has a good quality that you would like to develop. Maybe you don't have that quality, or you don't have that quality as much as they do, and they really have it. And then think about them. Bring a specific person to mind. They don't have to be a Buddhist. Or just choose a certain quality. There are other qualities may not be that amazing, but this one quality they have is really amazing. And it's something I would like to have, the quality I would like to have. Think about times you've watched them and they have displayed this quality, they show this quality. And secondly, imagine that you are honoring them for this quality. I would imagine that you are mentioned to them how much you admire this quality. And you could give them a small gift or something. Mainly, you express to them how much you admire this quality. So imagine that you could talk to them. Imagine they could hear in their mind what you are saying. Now try to, next step, try to think of something you did in the last few days which was not very nice. Maybe you criticized somebody. Maybe you were focusing on someone's faults. Try to isolate, try to pick out one negative thing you've done in the last few days. And of course, we've done many, but try to think of one that's kind of your usual problem. Think about it and express regret for it to the universe. You know, so I'm sorry I did that again and I'll work on it. By the way, if you keep apologizing for the same mistake over and over and over again, at some point you will change. So don't think it's hopeless. If you don't apologize, then you could go on forever doing that thing. But if you make it a daily practice before your meditation to apologize to the universe for this bad habit you have, then it will build up strength and you will be able to break the habit. But it may take time. So we have to do it daily. and now put equal effort into thinking about something, some good habit you have, something good that you do frequently, some attitude or some action or some way of speaking that is habitual for you and it's nice and it's good. And rejoice, be happy. I imagine I'm still telling the same person that I was admiring. So I will imagine they're sitting with me and I'll say, hey, I may have bad habits, but I have this one good habit also. I imagine I'm telling them about it. Rejoice. A lot of people have trouble rejoicing. So don't blow it off. Don't not take it seriously. You know, try to become an expert in rejoicing. And ask for teachings today. Pray that the world teaches you something new today. I think as you get older, when you get to my age, you think you don't have much left to learn. But if you're open minded and you are watching the world to learn new things and you get in the habit of learning new things, the world will teach you. Things will come and they are amazing. Each year of your life, you learn wonderful new things. So make a request to the universe. Oh, please teach me something cool that I never knew. And all of us are fortunate. I think most of us have teachers. And even if we don't have formal teachers, we have good people in our life who could be a spouse, could be children, could be friends, but they are nice people. They are good people. They're a good example. And ask those people to stay in your life and ask them to help you be a good person. And I'd like to think, I'd like to ask you to think about whether or not classics house is the house that attracts you. And today in this meditation, we're gonna go to each house and imagine that I am a master of this house. Okay. So whether or not you're attracted to classic house, maybe especially if you're not attracted to classic house, try to imagine yourself a real master of the classics. And it's vast subject of beautiful information, basically, spiritual information. So just imagine, whether you're attracted to it or not, imagine you are a true master of the classics. This is your house. Maybe you are even helping to direct the house. You are a master of the classics, and you are helping to direct this house. It's your responsibility to share the classics, both with people who are interested spiritually and with people who are not interested spiritually. And it's kind of your job to find strategies to share the beautiful ideas of the classics to both spiritual people and to people who are not interested in spirituality. Imagine that's your responsibility as the master of classics house. Now switch houses. You are a master of Samadhi house. What does it feel like to be a real master meditator? What do you imagine it feels like? Then how will you use this meditation skill to help both spiritual seekers and normal people who are maybe not interested in normal spirituality? As a meditation master, as a Samadhi master, can you imagine like almost designing programs for both populations, both different kinds of people. Okay, let's move on to Mountain House. Now you're a master of Mountain House. You may be a classics master also. You may be a Samadhi master also. But I'd like you to drop those two and focus on being a mountain master. Means you are a retreat master. You're very, very experienced. You're very, very passionate. And you're very, very good at doing retreat. You're very well trained. And just really enjoyed being a retreat master. Whether or not that's true, pretend you're a retreat master. How does it feel? And now drop that identification and switch to a staircase house master. I'm a Lamrim master. I have mastered the many meditations and practices of the steps of the path. I know that 14 years of stuff very well. And I have an experiential awareness of all of those steps. I meditated on those steps. I practiced those steps. They're part of me. It's part of who I am. I'm a real master of the staircase. How would you use that for spiritual seekers to help spiritual seekers? And how would you use that in the normal world for people not interested in traditional spirituality? Okay, switch hats. In the ancient language, it means switch houses. Now you're a diamond house master. You are one of the greatest, most experienced, most wise, most well trained masters of diamond house. Master teacher of the diamond way. And again, you're thinking, how can this house help people who are interested in traditional spirituality? And how can this house also serve people who are not interested in that? And by the way, of course, people can switch, and it happens. People think they're not interested in spirituality, and then after a year or two, they suddenly become attracted to the spiritual side. There are people who switch, but generally, as a Diamond House master, it's your responsibility to take care of both groups. We did a meditation on the five houses. We pretended that we were a master, even of the houses that we're maybe not so interested in. And we thought about ways that we could serve people who are interested in a traditional spiritual path, and then other people who are not interested in that. But we thought about, as a master of each house, we thought about ways to serve both populations. Now let's dedicate that good karma. I like to imagine light coming out of my body like sunlight, like bursting out like sunlight, and gradually spreading across the place where I live, and then spreading to other places. It may not be a visible sunlight, maybe it's just an intentional sunlight. And as it touches the planet, as it moves across the planet, people are inspired and people feel happier because I have dedicated the good karma of this meditation to them in the sunlight. Okay, you can open your eyes. Uh, there's a bathroom problem in two ways. I think there's some kind of backup of somebody must have done a big one. And don't forget there are outhouses here, but in the parking lot. And I went, they're pretty nice. I mean, they're okay. One more picture. They're fixed. All right, next picture, Francisco. I think this is Gelse's cabin, and when I try, this is the one I stay in. You don't get to see it, but the vibe is wonderful. Her vibe is there. I often stay there, and to me, when I talk to people about Diamond Mountain, this is what I show them. And if I was gonna sell, what do you call? mountain house. If I was going to sell mountain house, I would say, here's mountain house. Here's the what side? The spiritual side. Okay, here's the spiritual side of mountain house. This is the retreat side of mountain. This is the spiritual Buddhist side of mountain house. Now, what's the secular side look like? Next picture. Okay, and this is an actual program that was held here about 3 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, I came down. This is a new organization started in Asia. It's called Innovation Retreats. Stanley Chen founded it. Xiaoping assists him on it, and then they had a wonderful group. Flew in from many countries, and they held this. And by the way, this is this temple. This picture is this temple. Okay, and I walked in the door, and I opened the door and I was like, wow, and I was like, for how many years? 20 years. I wanted to have business retreats here, corporate retreats. We used to have them in my business. Terrible things. But I walked in and I saw this setup, and I was like, damn, I've been waiting for 20 years for this, and this is the secular side of, what do they call that house? Yeah, mountain house, and I was, God, I was talking to Sunam. She said her jaw dropped, and my jaw dropped, and I was like, yeah, this is what I had vision. This is the secular side, the non-spiritual side of retreat, and I did those retreats in my business, and I had many I don't know how to say, revolutionary ideas about business processes and business products. And ALL was invented in a retreat like this. Okay, ALL was created in a retreat like that. Which is going to save a whole culture that would otherwise disappear in this world. And so I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing. Now, the problem is, it's expensive to set up the place like that. There's two problems. Number one, three problems. Everywhere you see this cute little coloration thing on the walls, that's a leak. And we built this place by hand. I was there. Ben was there. Kendra was there. The other guy wasn't here yet. And boy, so anyway, it leaks. We didn't know what we were doing. And we actually blocked off the electrical outlets because it's dangerous. The water gets into electricity. And so that's kind of preventing us from from making this into like a corporate retreat place where you could come to do corporate retreat. We're not gonna throw out all the Buddhists. We're just gonna have different weekends or different weeks. We'd like to serve both communities. Every house should serve both communities. So anyway, we'd like to set it up like that. This company had a lot of money. They came in, they set it up. Unfortunately, they took it home. Okay, so you understand what I'm setting you up for? We would like to buy the necessary equipment and backdrops and things to do corporate things here. And I think it would be very popular. And it would help support Diamond Mountain. And we could influence the whole world. I think it's a very wonderful possibility. Okay, and then we have to pay people to do that. We have to train ACI teachers to do that. So anyway, we need money. I do a fundraiser every retreat. This is my fundraiser. I have exactly 30 seconds. And I like to put guilt pressure. This is something my mom taught me. my parents split up, and my mom's like, oh, your dad's a good man. Sometimes he does send the alimony. Sometimes he does send us money, meaning he doesn't usually. And she guilt tripped. It's called guilt trip in English. So I'm going to guilt trip you. Grandpa has raised $23,500. Okay. 3,500 was donated to me by the Russian students here. And I'd like to thank them. And they asked me to use it for any charitable project that I wanted to. So I'd like to use it for the corporatization of this retreat center. And 20,000 comes from the hard work of Seiji Arao and myself at DCI and SCIM. So we give 12% of our gross profit every year. So we would like to throw in 23,500. My wife and I will throw in another 1,500. So we'll make it 25,000 for this project. And it involves DCI and, it involves Diamond Mountain and ACI. So I call it Five House World, meaning we can reach out to the general world, the real world. And if you'd like to contribute, by the way, you don't have to give $1,000. If you give $10, you get your finger in the pie. My teacher used to say, get your finger in the pie. Give $5, give $1. It doesn't matter. Get your finger in the karma pie. And it's okay. If you're a fat cat, Peng Mo, if you can give 10,000, that's wonderful. If you cannot, then give $50 or something like that. Okay, so it goes to training the necessary ACI staff, buying the actual equipment, and then setting it up here. When we do secular house stuff, we have 2 minutes now. I suggest the people Ben's going to come up and work on his class, and Ben, come on. And I have to give a never get that. They never do that for me. I'm going to have to give an unusual introduction to you because your class is being also used as a class for the SCIM term. So I'll give a 5-minute introduction, and then Ben will go into his homework. If you have to pee or just feel free to get up and go out, okay? During Ben's class. So don't be uncomfortable. Don't go crazy, and don't make stains on the carpet. Okay, just feel free to go if you have to go. All right. So are we ready, Tim? 5 minutes. So me and Ben can relax, and you guys can pee. Oh, I have to change. Yeah. Do I have to change? How about just a coat? Okay. I'll be business casual. How much pitch to do here? Yeah. That's my, every time I do a retreat, I do that. Don't you want some water or anything? You sure you did?